What's up, YouTube? Welcome to Back in Bama. Back in Bama with Corey. All about Bama football news, updates, and more. Just for the real lifelong fan, just like you. So the question's been asked, why is the SEC conference moving to a 9 conference game system in 2026? And the other part is going to be about, is Alabama afraid to play Ohio State? That is simply not true. But I'm going to get into that as well. Hey guys, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. As usual, welcome to the channel. Now, here's the reason why the SEC is moving to the 9 game conference in 2026. Better alignment with college football playoff. Now, this is AI. The College Football Playoff Selection Committee is placing more emphasis on strength of schedule and new metrics like record strength that reward teams for playing tougher opponents. Moving from an 8 to 9 conference games gives SEC teams more opportunities to face high quality competition within the league, which helps their playoff resume. Now, everyone knows, at least if you're an SEC fan, if you're not an SEC fan, you're in the Big Ten, if you're somewhere else, in another Power Five conference, you're not going to agree with this. But SEC fans like us, we know how hard it is for teams in the SEC to get through the gauntlet within the SEC, because the SEC teams play each other harder to meet and other fans than any other conference in the nation. But let me continue. Now, too, this also says competitive balance and fairness across the conference. With 16 teams in the SEC, the new schedule ensures that each team plays every other SEC school at least once every 2 years and plays every opponent, both home and away, over a 4-year cycle. Now, this format is seen as more of a balanced and competitive than the old 8 game slate. Now, also, too, what it does is preserving rivalries while improving variety. The league will keep 3 annual permanent conference rivals for each team to protect historic rivalries, while other 6 games rotate through the rest of the league. Now, you know, there were certain games that just mean something, right? You're not going to take a Alabama, or you're not going to get rid of the Iron Bowl. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know how important, Georgia and LSU is, and Ole Miss, and I mean, it's just, the list goes on and on. So preserving the rivalries are very important now, especially with Lane Kiffin and LSU, and they happen to have Ole Miss on their schedule. Woo-wee! Oh boy. Anyway, says also too, aligning with other power conferences. The Big Ten and Big 12 already play 9 conference games, and there's pressure for uniformity across the Power 4 conferences. If the SEC stayed at 8 while others had 9, it could complicate playoff comparisons, especially with the committee's enhanced schedule metrics. Now, also, too, competitive positioning and TV market consideration. A 9 game conference slate can create more marquee matchups within the league, potentially boosting ratings and interest for conferences' TV partners. Although this isn't always highlighted officially, it's part of the broader competitive landscape that shapes scheduling decisions. Hey, look, more people tuning in means more money, viewers, network, etc., etc. But in short, it says SEC is adding a 9th conference game 2026 to strengthen schedules, improve competitive balance across, and again, this is in summary, across all 16 teams to help teams in the college football playoff evaluations, protect rivalries, and align more closely with how the modern playoff and other power conferences operate. Guys, hit that subscribe button. I just broke it down to you as to why the SEC is going to 9 games. It is to be prepared and better positioned for the college football playoff, especially if you got more wins than losses. But let me continue and hit that subscribe button, because I'm not done. Because the other part of this is, which I could have taken and made for a whole nother video, but I'm not. But I wanted to also talk about this. Was Alabama afraid to play Ohio State? Of course not. It gets back to what I was just covering, is talking about why it was important for this upcoming season is to move from 8 games to 9 games strictly for the SEC. And that's what impacted that particular matchup. And these games were already set up prior to Kalen DeBoer's arrival. Remember, guys, these matchups are always done years in advance. So it's not because all of a sudden the Big Ten got to be so great, right? I mean, these teams were scheduled to play each other years ago. And now that the Big Ten has been making some moves, doing some different things, and winning some national championships, they're getting more attention, especially from the recruits as well. But guys, Alabama was not afraid. Says, let's get into this. Alabama already had a high-profile home-and-home schedule with Ohio State Buckeyes football. With the 9th SEC game added, that matchup became much harder to justify from a risk standpoint. Now let's get into this. What happened? Alabama-Ohio State canceled the future home-and-home series that was scheduled for 2027 and 2028. Now, before the change, Alabama would have had 8 SEC games with the Ohio State game and one other non-conference game. Now, after the change, Alabama would have had 9 SEC games plus the Ohio State game, meaning 10 power conference games. That's a brutal slate, even by SEC standards. The strategic angle under the expanded 12-team college football playoff, SEC coaches and ADs realize you don't necessarily need a mega non-conference game to make the playoff anymore. Hit that subscribe button and give me a roll tide. A 9-game SEC schedule already provides strength of schedule. One extra loss from a heavyweight non-conference game could hurt your seedings. Can hurt you, especially if you're trying to get in the college football playoff. So from a competitive standpoint, dropping the whole Ohio State, reduce unnecessary risk. Now let's look at the big picture. For Alabama, the 9th SEC game, increased schedule difficulty inside the league led to canceling a marquee non-conference matchup. Reflected the new playoff era strategy, maximize playoff positioning, minimize unnecessary landmines. You guys leave a comment. Are you disappointed in the change? Do you see what the AD and other SEC leaderships were looking at moving forward for the next season? Hey, you stand more to gain by playing your conferences within your conference schedule and your conference opponents than trying to get a big dog from somewhere else and add it to your schedule and then potentially lose that game and it costs you a playoff seeding simply because you had them on your damn schedule. Guys, you leave a comment. What's your thoughts? Man, AI is good. Until the next time, remember, back in Bama with Corey, all about Bama football. Subscribe to Back in Bama with Corey, all about Bama football. Turn on all notifications and hit that like button.